Hi, welcome folks. I'm Tim Miranda and we're here with the Launchpad Live community call for May 2026. Glad to have you here. The target audience for this webinar is existing Launchpad providers, but of course, if you're new to Launchpad or exploring it, you're welcome here. We're going to talk about platform enhancements, things like that. Of course, you should check out launchpad.io for more information about the platform and upcoming events. We do have some exciting upcoming in-person events that you should check out on our events page on launchpad.io. Most importantly, we'll be at PegaWorld this year. So if you or your colleagues are attending PegaWorld, definitely register for the Launchpad session. Lots of cool stuff and content happening there. We have provider panels so you can see what other companies have accomplished with Launchpad. We'll have awards for providers and other sessions and a whole lot more. So definitely check that out. All right, so let's walk through what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to introduce our new agent skills that we have published to GitHub that let you do cool stuff to extend the platform and customize things by vibe coding them using our Claude standard skills. And then we're going to talk about several developer productivity enhancements and tools that have been introduced recently, and we will walk through those all at once. And then finally, we'll go through some new capabilities around agentic case processing and keeping track of agent conversations and be able to see what's going on with those. And then go from there. Afterwards, we will, of course, we'll do Q&A. Throughout this session, you'll see some things being posted to the chat. If you have questions, just post them in the chat or the Q&A, and we'll get to them at the end. And of course, you can also follow up with us through launchpad.io if you think of something you want to find out about afterwards. And then we'll just talk about some other upcoming events that are happening. All right, so with that, introduce who's here today. So I'm Tim Miranda. You may have seen me at prior webcasts and webinars. I'm a solution architect with the Launchpad Provider Success Group here. I have two speakers today. Ali, who is a software engineering manager, part of our Launchpad services organization and engineering. And I have Radek, who is joining us as a product manager in our case management area of the platform. So excited to have them here show off some of the new stuff. All right, so why don't we get going here? So I'm going to cover this one. So we recently published to Pegasystems GitHub account a new repo here called Pega Launchpad Agent Skills. And what this is a set of Claude skill files that you can use with any of your vibe coding tools that you may have that understand agent skills. So it's not just Claude, of course, but anything that can work with those. Use it in whatever IDE that you're using. I use these in things like VS Code, but whether you're using IntelliJ or even just command line, these will work. And these let you, they really help you in building out kind of custom things that you might want to extend the platform with. So whether that's custom UX components that you might want to hook up, custom functions that are written in Python or Java or Node.js that you want to integrate in, or things like that. These really accelerate that process so that you can follow best practices and can guide you through that conversationally in your favorite vibe coding tool and really quickly get something that you can drop into your Launchpad application to have that customized experience. If we go to the next slide. So there's 5 skills. We'll be adding more here. And these are about kind of adding things outside of Launchpad and integrating them in, right? So we have a skill that really teaches your agent how to call Launchpad over the DX API, which is our REST service for surface for Launchpad applications. And so instead of having to read a spec or sort of look at the different endpoints and stuff, you can describe what you want to do. Maybe you have your own front end application that you already have running, or you may have other services and you want to programmatically integrate with Launchpad and create cases, start some workflows, access data from the Launchpad data store. That skill will quickly get you hooked up with the DX API, guide you through the configuration that you need to do in Launchpad as well. You can also use this to help you build, use our web embed capability so that you can embed in the Launchpad user experience directly into your existing portal or web application. And I have an example here for the third one. There's a skill around creating custom UX components. So if there's some special control or even like a page that you want to build, maybe you already have some existing UX assets, you can use that to quickly have it wrapped in a way that it can be used in Launchpad and then also deploy it directly into Launchpad. You can see on the right here, I'm showing a simple example, but within a few minutes, one of my colleagues used that skill, built a slider toggle type setup there, and then dropped that directly into their Launchpad end user UX as a control. So that skill made it very easy to get that from idea into something that's running in Launchpad. You can also, there's a skill also around custom server functions. So again, if you have existing code assets like a Python module or a jar that you use, or maybe something that's open source that you want to use as part of your workflow in Launchpad, that skill will let you get it defined, wrapped, and then show you how to upload it into Launchpad and then integrate it into your workflow. We even have a skill where if you have or want to create a custom front end that will be interacting with Launchpad over our React SDK, it will very quickly let you whip that up and show you what you need to configure and actually walk through getting the React SDK authenticated against Launchpad instead of having to read through a bunch of documents. So it's super easy to install these skills. In your repository, they're using the agent skills open standard. So the way we structured them, they should work with a variety of different vibe coding agents and tools. You can install single skills if there's a particular one here that you're like, oh, I definitely want to check this one out. You can just use npx to install these skills, or you can install the full collection into your workspace as well. Really, really easy to do. It'll walk through. It'll even customize the install based on what tool you're using. So whether it's Claude or something else, make sure it puts stuff in the right place for you so you can just get up and running and start to do some agentic development there. So yeah, definitely check this out. It's up on GitHub on the Pegasystems account, and we'll be adding more to it as time goes on. Cool. All right, so let's get into our next topic here. I want to introduce Allie. She is going to cover a bunch of stuff done under developer productivity enhancements and some new tools that are available. I think she's actually going to show us all of these at once. So, hi, Allie. Let's interested to see what you got here.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me. Let me share my screen here and walk us through some cool tools. So I've been working the last few months to really increase our usability in our Launchpad application. And what that actually means is just making it easier when you first come into the application, or whether you've been in here for a while, to just do the things you need to do, to debug your application, to add new features, all of that. And I think today, Tim, what would be useful is to share maybe some of our automation capabilities that we've recently added to really make automations, which are such core parts of our logic within our application, and often require a lot of kind of finessing and updating and debugging. We have a few three new tools that I think will be really helpful for those to show everyone today. So I'm looking here at my case type for an audit case. And what I'm looking at for this workflow is I'm actually going to take a look at this prepare audit automation that we have. So once I create an audit in my first step of my workflow, I'm going to load up some policies for that audit, and then I'm going to do some preparation steps. And I have this automation open here in another window. What I really want to show, first of all, is, I've got quite a few different things going on here. Maybe not as complex as I'm eventually going to build it out, and I'm kind of mid-build here. And the first thing you might notice is that I actually have a placeholder for the policy name here. And that's because I'm actively developing this automation. I'm continuing to try to test it. and I really don't know what I want to set here. So I don't really want this step to execute. Well, what we have now, which I think is super exciting, and I personally have certainly benefited from in the last few weeks, is actually being able to disable my automation steps now. So what I'm just going to do here, hit disable, and that's pretty much it. So I can disable a substep, I can disable the full step here. What's really, really nice and what I use a lot on this is I can actually like clear this value. So rather than having a placeholder, have nothing there, remind myself when I enable the step that I need something there. And I can hit save on my automation. And this validation is going to work just fine because we're not validating your disabled steps. So this allows you to kind of have, if you have maybe like an expression that's half baked and you want to work on, you can really enable, disable. I could also use the run rule to test this automation, and it'll skip those disabled steps. And you can see my step numbering as well has updated to not include that disabled step there. So that's the first thing that I'm using all the time to really just help with my automation development.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time in automations when I'm building apps because they're really powerful. They let you do a lot of procedural stuff, evaluations, integrations and stuff. And so being able to iteratively kind of put some placeholders in or some stubbed out steps, go back, edit some other rules, add some of the supporting stuff that you want to call, and then come back here and turn them back on. Yeah, I think I've been using this a lot in the past couple of weeks. This is a great improvement here, and yeah, no, this is cool. And the other thing is you may not have the thing that you want to call. So if you're setting something on the right-hand side of a set step, maybe you want to use configuration, or like you have a configuration so that each subscriber has a different value. So you may want to go set that up first and then uncomment it out and then be able to use it here, right? So
Yeah, and that's actually something else I wanted to show as well, which is we now have on not just our automation rule, but on all of our expression enabled rules, we are adding this subscriber settings option. So for this policy name, for example, I might want to set this for each of my subscribers to my application. It might be different depending on, how that subscriber is operating. I can actually now just hit this here and see a really lovely drop down of the configuration settings that I want to add. So this is, you could use these configuration settings before in your automations and your expressions. This just makes it super easy. And to be honest, it just gives me a little bit better configurability when I'm doing something like an automation. It's one less step I need to do. I also like that this is filtering out into the configuration settings that I actually would be applicable for what I'm setting with this field. So I'm only seeing a configuration setting that has that text type that I'm looking for that policy name. It just makes it easier for me to find what I need and to be able to work with this here.
yeah, that's great. I mean, the configuration aspect of Launchpad is super powerful for subscribers.
Mhm.
You can set up, like here, you have simple kind of, different values for different subscribers. You could have entire rules that are configurable and extendable by subscribers. But to be able to just kind of drop it in and say, like, this is where I'm going to set this here. It's coming from a configuration. And you have different types of fields, like you said. You might have text fields like you're using here. You may have amounts or thresholds. You may have flags that are like Booleans. So it'll let you see exactly the ones you can use in this particular statement. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's very useful.
Mm.
And the final thing that I want to show you and everyone today, so I'm going to actually disable this again because I don't need it. And what I want to do now is actually show something that we have for our background automations. So
Oh,
we have this op. Oh, sorry.
oh, no, go ahead. I was looking at the last step here. So, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we can see on the bottom here, I have this execute in background checked. And this is for something where I don't want this to block my end user waiting for it, right? So this might be a longer running process or something like that. You can see I have this background audit prep here that might take a little bit longer. And what might happen is you might need to be debugging this background call as well, right? And now we have a really easy way to do that that I personally am a big fan of. So I already have a preview loaded up here of my application, and I'm just going to show us how we can actually trace that background automation step really easily and most importantly, really clearly as a kind of sub process within our broader automation for my application. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an audit here, and I'm going to choose the ISO type, and I'll just set my due date to next week, a week from now. And I'm going to label this, security audit for Launchpad. And I'm going to, before I hit submit, I will remember to turn on my tracer here. And the tracer, I'm sure many of you have used, right? Super useful. And it's going to trace all the steps. Now, before, I might not have had great visibility into my background automation to see exactly how that was running. If, for example, I was debugging something there or unsure why something wasn't working or whatnot. So when I hit submit, what this does is it submits. And if you remember from when I was showing the case type, we gather these audit details, but we're also going to execute this prepare audit automation, which calls my background automation. What I'm going to do now, I'll pause my tracer and I'm going to just search background here, and I can actually see quite a few background jobs, and I can also see my automation. And I'm going to just open up in my new window a tracer, and this tracer is going to be updating while that background automation is running. So I can actually see, the step numbers, exactly what I would see for a regularly executed automation in a separate kind of context, so I can see and really debug that as a separate entity. So this is something that I just find really useful as I'm building more complex applications, which is one of Launchpad's real strong suits. I'm able to do this tracing now, and we can actually just go to the homepage as well just to confirm. Okay, I see my new audit is created from my background automation. I see the due date has been set. Maybe I don't see this framework name has been set yet, so I'm going to use the tracer to identify why things didn't get set, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, no, that's having that in a unified place. I mean, in any kind of runtime where you're kicking stuff off in the background, it's usually hard to kind of see not just the results of that, but also like what process it went through. So to have that just in Tracer, where as a developer I can make some changes, go preview, trace through the foreground process that's running and automations, but also see what happened with the background one. Saves me a lot of time and makes it really easy to debug stuff as I'm going through. So yeah, this is a great new feature. Like all of these put together, and we're also not mentioning that there's other developer productivity stuff that's been done recently that's upcoming as well. But this is a great kind of way to connect the dots through these ones. So
Right. And you'll notice
cool.
I even just use some of them that I, at this point, have just become natural, right? I generated comments for my automation. I also, could have used the fill form functionality here if I was just going quickly and wanted to test. So lots of great things that just become a part of your development experience.
Yeah. No, that's cool. And then so what can we expect in terms of more changes going on? Can we get, how do we get feedback from clients and like what what are we looking in the pipeline here for stuff like this?
Yeah, great question. I think I see my job within our engineering teams as really being translating that client feedback into meaningful changes in our product. So we're always taking the feedback that we get from our providers, that our providers get from their subscribers even, and translating that into really high impact changes. So a few other things that we've done in the last few months that I just think are notable in addition to filling the form with AI, which saves me so much time when I'm going through a test flow. I have a screen, I have like 25 fields. I don't want to have to type out a value for all of those every time I test my flow. That has saved me a lot of time in and of itself. Also, using those configuration settings across other expression supported rule types. So using those in my integration rules and other things like that has been really helpful. I can update my field types as well. That's something that we kind of focused on as a better experience, changing the types of my fields after I've already have them. Maybe I had a vision in my blueprint. I start working on my application. I realize, you know what, this text needs to be a text paragraph, vice versa. I can easily change that in my application, and we made that process really nice and neat. So we're always taking that feedback and trying to have a really quick turnaround in terms of high impact for listening to you all and understanding what makes our product even better.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I've directly benefited from this myself as I building a new app this week and was using all of these things that you showed off. So appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
thanks.
So I'd like to introduce Roddick here. He's from our product management group. We've got some exciting new stuff coming here with agentic processing and keeping track of the history of chats that are happening with agents. So welcome, Roddick. Thanks for joining us today. Tell me a little bit more about what's going on with these new capabilities.
Hey Tim, hi all on the audience. So yes, last time I was presenting to you like three months ago, and we've been introducing agentic capabilities in general to Launchpad. And at that point of time, we introduced them very generically, very flexibly, where you could execute, you could have agent execute any automation or any data page for its knowledge. Now we are extending this to basically grasp the core advantage of Launchpad, which is predictable workflows. So now with a single click, you can expose a particular case type to your agent, and that's it from the authoring standpoint. With a single click, you get case creation, you can get assignment processing, and everything is handled for you 100% within the platform.
Cool. All right. Yeah, so let's and then we have the conversation history as well. Yeah, I mean, it was a great foundation that we talked about last time. Why don't we take a look? Show us what you have.
Yeah. Yeah, so as you said, we also have this conversation history where I can see my previous chats with the agent, and I can continue them at any point of time. So I can get summaries for each of my conversations, so that I can easily distinguish them in the list. Here it's showing that I have my previous conversations. I can open any of them. And yes, what is this major feature is that now all the workflows are exposed here. So you do not need to configure any, you don't need to play with any data types, you don't need to play with any automations. All of those capabilities are out of the box exposed to your agent widgets. You can place agent widgets anywhere in your application, on a landing page or in a case context.
All right, so here you have an agent that is just in the landing page when I log in, and I can just start conversing with it and having it kick off workflows and walk through those same workflow steps that I might traditionally kind of be like show a form,
Exactly.
walk through. But here it's being done conversationally, following the guardrails of that workflow. Cool, yeah, it's going all the way through all the different steps and asking the required info.
When you're talking about the traditional UI, what is great here is that you do not need to know where a particular option is in the UI or which case you should use. If the agent has those cases exposed, you just tell the agent what you want to do, and the agent will pick it for you automatically and guide you through the process.
That's great. I mean, the fact that I can build a single workflow, and as a provider, I could decide to expose it sort of interactively through a set of forms or conversationally, and not have to build specific workflows and processes for those different types of uses, makes this save me a lot of time. And also, I'll know that that same set of steps, the automation, the decisions along the way are going to be executed and honored, whether it's done this way or through a set of forms. Saves me a lot of time. So very cool. So this is actually now finishing off a case and finalizing this instead of having the user have to kind of look, go from screen to screen. So here it's actually created an actual booking case.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you can open it up. You can take a look at the booking. It's a real case in the system, and all of the stuff that's been filled in by the agent. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as you can see here, we can have any complexity of the case behind this agent. So the workflow can have any automations, decisions, connectors launched to other systems, anything that that Launchpad can give you. Everything is available to the agent behind the process, basically.
That's great. Yeah. I think that, this is a great example again of sort of how the workflow, the outcome of your app is the central thing. You focus on that in your development, and we take all of the kind of non-outcome related stuff off the table for you. So you can just drop in a conversational agent. You can have them walk through forms. You can have a custom front end that's using that same workflow, or even drop that agent into your own portal, however you want to do it. And we make sure that
link it with what you were talking about at the beginning with the skills and directly use it through the DX API. So
yeah.
any way you like, you can cooperate with this. And soon we will be exposing the same through MCP. The great premiere will be on PegaWorld. So once again, the invitation to everyone. And that's when we will expose exactly the same processes, the same capabilities to MCP.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming that you'll be able to see at PegaWorld around using agents and AI in your application development as well, and the runtime. And so yeah, definitely, again, a big plug for PegaWorld. If you or your colleagues are register for the Launchpad sessions. You're going to see some really neat stuff there. Yeah, so this is awesome. Again, I have been using this in some of the new apps I've been building even the last couple of weeks. And it feels very turnkey. It's like I built my workflow. I know what outcomes I'm trying to put into my app, because that's my differentiator for my app as a provider, is really the workflows and the magic in them, and then be able to very easily just have them be used conversationally or from form to form. Takes all of that off the table for me. So this is cool. Yeah, anything else you want to highlight here, Roddick?
So regarding the history of the case of the conversation, so here it's we maintain separate history for all your contexts. So for landing pages, it's separate. You can have different agents in your applications. You can have an agent next as a contextful agent next to your each case instance. So then it's specific to a particular case. So you can have any conversations for any cases maintained separately, which gives you this flexibility of having things organized where you would expect them.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great for the end users to be able to see that, but also just from like an audibility and predictability point of view, being able to kind of see what's been happening with these executions, with these conversations, and really drill down into just like with any kind of conversational experience, keep your contexts from past conversations useful for both like the subscribers that are like managing this app, but also the end users that are using it as well.
Yes, the subscribers can have insight into all the conversations of their customers. They can have an agent like summarize all the conversations of all customers, so they can get really comprehensive information what people are needing from your application, and how they are using it, and you really can boost your productivity or your outcomes with such approach.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you, Roddick, for joining today. A lot of stuff to explore here for folks. Definitely take a look add all these new capabilities and try them out in your application.
Thank you.
All right. So let's talk next steps here.
All right, we are going to go into Q&A right now. So
Yep.
I will, we got one question for you, Allie, in. How can you wait for completion of a background process within the process?
So I'm not sure if this is asking within the context of the tracing or just the actual process itself. So I'll address both. For the trace, it should work just like if you were running an automation for like in the regular tracer, a foreground automation. So you'll see those traces appear as the automation is executing. Once it's finished, you should be able to see in that pop-up window all of the traces listed there nice and neat for you. And it is separate, which is nice. So you can kind of see that come in. For actually waiting for the process, so the background automation itself is meant not to cause any wait on the side of the end user. So as an end user, you'll notice like my subcase creation might have still been happening, but I didn't actually see any loading on my end or anything like that as I was waiting for that. It's happening in the background, meaning when it completes, you'll see the results. In that case, I was creating a new audit case. So I saw those results when I went to my homepage. If this was something that had taken, a few minutes, I would just need to refresh my homepage and see when that showed up. But the real point of the background automation is that you're not making anyone wait. You're not having that wait time. It's something that's not going to be urgent enough to have the user kind of waiting for that spinning wheel or waiting for the process to complete. So it's really useful for those longer running processes or just things you don't want to be time that the user spends.
And there's a pattern that I've used a lot where you may want to kick this off in the background, and have the next few screens or interactions not have to wait for that. But there may be a point in your workflow where you do know you need those results, whether it means waiting for it or not. So you could have it in the background, say, create some child cases that are linked to that parent, and you can use the wait shape in your process when it makes sense to wait for those children to fully complete processing. And that's a way to sort of have it let the user get through some work while that's happening in the background. But then at some point, the parent case has to sort of chill out at a spot until the children are complete. So you have that option as well.
Okay. Another question for you, Radek. What LLM model stands behind this?
Yes. So for each agent, you can select the model, large language model that you like, that you think that will be best handling the requests sent to the agent, or you can use the default option, which is recommended by Launchpad at any given point of time, because as we know, there's progress and evolution or revolution of agentic capabilities. So we keep pace of what new models, new LLMs appear and which ones will best handle your processes. So all of those that are leading, like from Anthropic, Gemini, GPT, all of those are available to you if you want to manually choose.
Great. And then another one for you. Can a single agent work with several case types?
Yes. So you basically have a checkbox for each case type in your application, and you can have any checkboxes selected to expose those particular cases to a single agent. You can have any number of agents also, of course, give them different instructions so that they behave that way or that way. But yes, they can operate on those case types that you select, even multiple.
Okay.
Cool.
Let's see. Any more questions? I know, Al, you had talked about AI before, but we have some more coming, I guess. So it's always exciting. Some new features around AI. All right. I don't know if I see any other questions. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. Let me get the slide up again.
Sure. Of course, if you have questions afterwards, you can reach out on launchpad.io and get in contact and find out more. So of course, again, I want to highlight PegaWorld that's coming up. Lots of announcements, awards, provider panels. If you are attending PegaWorld and you want to see the Launchpad session where all that's happening, go to this link to go register. If your colleagues go into PegaWorld, get them to register, see everything new that's going on with Launchpad. A lot of exciting stuff there. And then we will also, coming up next week, we'll be in San Mateo for the SaaStr conference. So you'll be able to meet Launchpad folks there, talk with them about your apps, your ideas, your use cases, learn more about it, and really dig in. So check us out there if you're attending that. And we also have our next, this Launchpad Live community call. Our next one is on July 16th. You can see our announcements on LinkedIn. You can also go to launchpad.io under the resources and events and see what's coming up and get this on your calendar so that you'll be able to see what new enhancements we have between now and July in the platform as well. Lots of stuff going on. And then coming up, we're going to announce a series of regional road shows where we'll actually be in person in a few different places, Toronto, Waterloo, New York, and Boston. And you'll be able to really talk directly with our Launchpad leadership and see and really kind of dig into how you can use Launchpad for to build new apps, to augment existing apps, to enhance capabilities in your apps and really dig in there. All right. And let me see. So like I said, go into launchpad.io. You can see what events are coming up. We're also have blog posts that are getting posted there all the time under the resources. Check out our agent skills up on GitHub and dig in as existing providers, check out these new capabilities that we're showing off today, and let us know what you think. I appreciate everyone's time here. Really liked what we saw today. Thanks for joining, and we'll be posting this up on launchpad.io so you can see the video, see what we went through if you want to look back. But see you at the next one, and thanks for joining.